Hi, welcome to Real Magic Review. My name is Steve Faulkner, and this isn't a review, it's another vlog and a little answer to some lovely messages I've been getting over the last couple of weeks. Oh, before we carry on, I've had to cut this in because I forgot. Please like, subscribe and share if you like this sort of thing. Sharing just, it changes everything, you know, like it kind of doubles my views, which is, you know, it's nice. Subscribing really does as well. So if you're not a subscriber already, please do subscribe. It's huge. It makes a huge difference to the algorithms, all that kind of stuff, and more people will watch the videos. And check out cardmagiccourse.com. That's my online card magic course with over 300 videos. It's getting ridiculous now. It is huge, this thing, and I provide guidance if you go on and get overwhelmed, which some people do. So there are little learner journeys, and there's hints and tips and next things to learn in there as well. So check out cardmagiccourse.com. Right, let's get on with it. So a couple of weeks ago, I did this thing about how I got all overwhelmed and stuff like that, and loads of people have messaged me, as I've mentioned in a review I did last week, and thanks for that. But I've also noticed another sort of repeating pattern that's come up, and there's people losing their motivation for magic, and not just in messages for me, but on Facebook. And I've noticed, you know, a few people have said, you know, I think I've lost my motivation. How do you get it back on the magic pages and stuff like that? And because I've been there, I just thought I'd share my views on it. These are only my views and opinions and experiences and what works for me. I suppose it does tie in a little bit to the work I do with leadership and things like that, is kind of maintaining motivation. But I just thought I'd share a couple of approaches I take that really work for me. The first is to understand it's okay. All right? It's okay to lose motivation. It's a completely natural thing, even for the things that we absolutely adore and love. You know, I've got 2 children. I love them dearly. I live for them. My whole life and everything I do is about them. Now and then I lose motivation for them. Now and then I just think, I just want to do something else. And that's completely fine. And parents beat themselves up about it. And magicians beat themselves up about it, because this is the thing we love. This is the thing we talk about. This is the thing that we put on groups and we ask questions. And then all of a sudden we kind of doing it and we don't feel that kind of mojo. We don't feel that thing of, why aren't I getting this joy for this? And there's so many reasons why that could happen. We've just gone through a huge experience. We're still going through a huge experience that is going to change things and is going to take us away from certain things. And we've got this underlying subconscious worry, a lot of us, or not even subconscious, to do with loads of different things. Our families, our friends, our jobs, where we're questioning everything at the moment of where we sort of stand in the world as it is, what our role is. And even if you haven't got that stuff, the ebb and flow of motivation still comes. And I've had it with work and my business. You know, sometimes I'm really into it and I wake up really, you know, wanting to get into the office and get to work on stuff. A lot of the time, even if it's stuff that I usually love, I just don't really like it. Accept it. It's okay. It comes in ebbs and flows. Life is like that. We hibernate a little bit sometimes. We feel like we don't really want to engage, and then suddenly we do. And it's having faith in that, I think. It's understanding that how you feel now isn't necessarily the way it is now. I think there's a lot of that stuff of, I've lost my motivation, that's it, I've lost motivation, and then not waiting for it to pick up. And I did that as a kid, actually. You know, you get into something and then you kind of lose it and you go, well, I'm going to do something else. And the second thing I want to mention, which ties into that, as I said, is understand, kind of make a plan of where you want to go. Now, this is different to the thing I talk about a lot of make a goal, stick to it. You know, that depending on what it is might be like, if business, it's a bit more important because you've decided you're working towards a specific thing that has to work in some way for you professionally and in a way that provides money, etc. What, you know, if you're a hobbyist like I am as well as a professional, it's kind of going, what do I actually want to, why am I doing magic? Do I want to get to someone, or is it just fine that I'm just learning tricks because I love learning them? I think just being aware of that's really important. If you have got a professional goal, you know, that's fine. I want to be doing a certain amount of gigs. But if it's that I want to be this knowledgeable, I want to be able to have conversations around different magicians and the historical part of it and all that, just have an idea of where you want to go. But importantly, understand that that might change, because the problem with goals is sometimes we think we want something, we start getting towards it and realizing we don't really want that. And actually, you know, my thing was, it was all about getting gigs, and then all of a sudden it wasn't. It's kind of actually, that doesn't really fit into my family life and it doesn't fit into what I want to do. So I went back to going, actually, I just want to be as knowledgeable as possible, know as many moves as possible so I can improvise and put routines together. And that was my thing. So just have an idea of where you're going. The reason this is important is because when motivation does drop, you can kind of look at that and go, yeah, well, I still kind of want to get that, even though I might not feel the day-to-day joy of it. So I can now make a plan of how to get it. The most important one, I think, is to do with that plan, but you've got to kind of forget the plan at some point as well and just make a process. And this has been a real game changer for me in every aspect of my life, in fitness, health, all that kind of stuff. Fitness is a really good metaphor for this, because metaphor the right word? Well, there's an analogy, I always get mixed up. The whole thing with, if you concentrated on the losing weight, the looking fit, the looking great, all that kind of stuff, sometimes that's not enough. Sometimes that feels so far in the future. It's a really intimidating thing that you all of a sudden you can see how much work you've got to do. This is going to take a year. That's too intimidating sometimes. Set the goal and just work out the process. The process for me was going to the gym 3 times, running twice. That's it. And that's all I have to do is turn up. And I know that the end result will come at some point. I'll keep checking in if it's still what I want to do, etc., etc. But it's just kind of do the process, stick with the process. And that is so powerful, because with magic, what you do is you create the process and then you don't listen to how you feel. You go, right, I've decided that 3 days a week, I'm going to sit for an hour with a deck of cards, and just keep doing the process and accept that not every time you're going to love it. You're not going to sit down every time and feel brilliant about it. Now, a lot of the time, actually, regardless of how you feel at the beginning, within 10 minutes, you'll be into it. So there's a lot of that goes on as well. It's kind of, our brains fool us into thinking we don't want to do something. And then when we start doing it, we realize we're actually really into it. So, my thing in the office at the moment, I come in on certain days, I start making a video for YouTube. Hello, this is one of them. I write it in the morning. And this morning I didn't want to. I woke up, I was tired. I didn't want to do anything. I had a coffee. I came in here and it was like writing was just something that pen felt heavy. You know what I mean? But after time, it feels a bit lighter and it starts flowing and you start getting into it. And if you think of, when we go to work, or when I used to go to school, every morning I used to trudge into school just not wanting to be there. And after a while I was having a laugh with my mates and I was in the rhythm of it. So that kind of going from one thing to the other, going from, hanging out with your kids to sitting down with a deck of cards, or vice versa, or with your friends, or doing that study, can feel like a really big, it can take a huge amount of effort to get into that space. But once you're in it, it starts becoming a lot more enjoyable. And the process to me has been, like I said, has been a huge thing. So once you make that decision and commitment, and do commit to it, it doesn't mean you can't be flexible. If something comes up, then you move it. But, commit to it, that regardless of how you're going to feel, you're going to sit down with the cards or with the coins or whatever, and do, 10, 20 minutes of learning. I've picked up a couple of magic books this week. I really haven't got much mojo for it at the moment. Picked up a Larry Jennings book. It's actually over there. And just started learning, just opened it up and just started learning a couple of tricks. And within half an hour, I was really into it. I actually had a whole evening of kind of learning this trick that I thought, why haven't I ever found this trick? And the final thing is find inspiration when it's not there. Now, you've got to be careful here. What I don't mean is desperately get into that headspace of, I'm not inspired, I'm not creative, I desperately need to find it. It's not like that. It's just when you're not feeling it, have a look on YouTube, find a magician that you like and watch a performance, and sometimes that'll do wonders for me. So recently I watched the Ricky Jay documentary. It's actually on YouTube at the moment. The whole thing was on YouTube. So Ricky Jay documentary and Ricky Jay 52 Assistants, the show. Those two things always inspire me. Richard Turner's Dealt really inspires me. So I tend to get inspired by kind of documentaries or performances. I don't really get inspired by instructional stuff. Sometimes. So for me, I know that if it's for learning, I'll look at kind of L&L DVDs, books, etc. If it's for inspiration, I'll tend to read more sort of theory books, people's experiences, like the Vanishing Ink, the little essays, astonishing essays that they do. Things like that really reinvigorate me. And I'll read something like that and I'll all of a sudden wake up and I'll kind of be a different person. I'll be looking at the world through those kind of magic eyes. Magic eyes, that sounds terrible, doesn't it? But you know what I mean? It's kind of like all of a sudden magic feels like something I want to do. So seek out those things. I think YouTube's amazing for watching those old performances of Tommy Wonder, those people that we love to watch. And again, I would go for performances rather than instructional stuff for inspiration, but that's just me. So seek it out, look at it, dip your toes in, don't get desperate about it. But all those things for me go together to kind of go, okay, well, I'm kind of motivated enough now to keep going, and draw on other people, which, will come full circle with this, which, your support, your messages of encouragement, your comments make a huge difference. So if you're feeling a bit isolated, like you haven't really got that mojo, just, find other magicians to hang out with. You don't have to constantly talk about magic all the time. It can just be a thing that's there, bubbling up in the background. and the social community around it is very important to me as well. So thank you very much indeed. That's a little ramble or a long ramble on how to get your mojo back if you've lost it as a magician and as a human being, because all these things work out of magic, of course, as well, and I use them in all aspects of my life. Have a good one. Take care. Check out cardmagiccourse.com. I'll be making some more videos this week for that, and like and subscribe. Cheers.